Chelsea against Tottenham in the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final, as the Blues go into their game 1-0 down after the first leg, but with Tottenham missing basically their best attacking players, Chelsea do stand a good chance of turning the tie around. While Maurizio Sarri everything but confirms the signing of Gonzalo Higuain, but admits that the transfer was not completed in time for the Argentinian to feature against Tottenham tomorrow. The main question though is how, or if at all, Sarri will change the team from the last game, obviously against Arsenal. To find out everything you need to know about both sides ahead of the game, injury news, tactics, press conference comments, etc., be sure to watch all of this preview. Hello there guys, and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for my preview of the Chelsea versus Tottenham game in the second leg of the Carabao Cup, obviously as you know by now. And I do hope that the sound quality is somewhat okay. This room is a little bit echoey, obviously different surroundings. I am in London at the moment, staying in Luz's girlfriend's room, which is very nice of her to let me stay here. Thank you for that, if you're watching this video. But yeah, of course, this is the preview. There was already another bit of content uploaded today. Obviously, the Gonzalo Higuain stuff is obviously real, and you know, there will be content once basically that move is official. But yeah, of course, this is the preview. Like I said, there will be a review, all sorts of, you know, content surrounding the game, fan cams, a vlog, as there is for every game. So if you don't want to miss out on any of that, please do be sure to subscribe to 100% Chelsea, and also let's see whether we can hit 400 or more likes in this video. That would be massively appreciated. So please do be sure to smash the like button down below. But now getting straight into the preview, and basically as always starting it off with our opposition Spurs. Now obviously I already did a pretty detailed preview ahead of the first leg, and I'd basically just be repeating myself if I went to as much detail again. So basically, if you haven't watched that preview already, click the card up there. If you just want to remind yourself of what I said, click the card up there to watch that, because you know, I'm not gonna go into that much detail about them this time round. Now, obviously they're still in third, you know, ever since playing us. They did lose actually to Manchester United 1-0 at Wembley. A game of two halves really. Man United dominated the first half and took the lead, but then in the second half it was mostly just Tottenham, and they had plenty of chances, but either they were just poorly finished, you know, by some Tottenham player basically, or David De Gea pulled off some quality saves. And to make that day even worse for Tottenham, in the last few minutes of that game against Man United, Harry Kane did pick up quite a serious ankle injury that will keep him out of tomorrow's game and for a few more weeks as well. Now then, you know, basically the other game that they had between obviously this second leg and the first leg was Fulham, you know, on the weekend, that they just about beat 2-1 in a, I don't want to call it lucky, but a draw would probably have been the fair result, as basically they just scored, you know, an injury time winner through Harry Winks to win the game 2-1, like I said. And of course they dominated possession as you'd expect against Fulham, but you know, they didn't actually have that many more chances, you know, than Fulham had. So maybe a draw would have been a fair result. But also in that game, ALLI this time picked up, you know, an injury. I think it was his hamstring, and he's also out of tomorrow's game, which obviously for Chelsea is good news, because I just mentioned KANE and ALLI, they are both out and obviously will miss the game, like I said. But also Heung-min Son, you know, he is out on international duty with South Korea at the moment at the Asia Cup, and obviously isn't around either, and will obviously miss the game as well. And those three are arguably their, you know, three most goal-threatening players, alongside obviously Christian Eriksen. But it was then today confirmed that all of Moussa Sissoko, Lucas Moura and Victor Wanyama have actually returned to training after injury, but there was no specification whether they are back in full training, and you know, whether they'll be available against Chelsea, especially available to start, or whether they just about resume training and aren't actually ready to play against us. Obviously getting them back would be big for them, especially Lucas Moura, but also the others, you know, Sissoko in midfield. But Lucas Moura, they don't really have that many, you know, very good attacking players left, with obviously Kane, ALLI and Son out. So, you know, that would obviously boost them, but like I said, we just don't know whether they will be available to play. Now, if you remember back to the first leg against them, especially in the second half of that game, obviously they were in the lead already, but generally throughout the game as a whole, Spurs set pretty deep actually, and just defended and tried to hit us on the counter, playing long balls to Son and Harry Kane as well. Obviously they won the game, so I guess it worked. But we just didn't break them down. They defended quite a lot, so you know, they had chances, but they didn't have that many. We arguably had more chances to score in that game, and you know, I still don't think that goal should have stood. But you know, that is what it is, I guess. But you know, obviously we hit the post twice. Christensen basically had a sitter, but still we couldn't break them down enough. So you know, you could kind of expect similar things to happen tomorrow. They're already going into the game with a lead, so they're probably going to be even more defensive, especially with their best attacking players missing. So we should just prepare ourselves in basically having to break them down, I think. Obviously, I'm not saying that they won't even try to score. You know, they're not going to do what we did at Man City last season. Obviously not. But still, you know, they do know that we struggle to break teams down, defensive teams. So, you know, they will obviously try and use that, I think. But obviously, you know, like I said, if they get a chance to score, they will obviously try to take it, and it will most certainly be a difficult game. But I think the main difficulty will be breaking them down rather than just, you know, basically keeping them from scoring. But to be honest, as I'm not going into that much detail today, obviously just speaking about them 2 weeks ago, that was really it about Spurs. And now getting into Maurizio Sarri's pre-match press conference today, which was pretty interesting, obviously mainly talking about Gonzalo Higuain. Now, starting it off, the boss actually basically said that we need to react and improve on the pitch following the Arsenal result, obviously. And it was basically discussed how to improve, you know, basically the approach, the determination, also the motivation in the game, ahead of the game. Basically, Sarri discussed all of that with the team, and obviously they want to change quite a few things in all of those aspects. Obviously, the whole motivation thing, determination thing has been brought up quite a few times this season, and obviously Sarri went on a bit of a rant after the game saying these players are impossible to motivate or really tricky to motivate. He was clearly not very happy, and understandably so, after the game. And basically it was said, kind of talked about losing points of references in the team over recent years. And, you know, it was a mentioned topic, like I said, in this press conference now, even though Sarri didn't go into much detail, basically just trying to get out of that question by saying obviously he wasn't here. But he did then say that both Azpilicueta and David Luiz basically are leaders and can help basically the other players to basically have the right mentality. But then he also stated that Eden Hazard is a great player, but not the leader, which I find interesting, especially when we're trying to make him, you know, get him to sign a new contract. But it's honest, you know, I completely agree. Eden Hazard is not a leader on the pitch. He's not gonna like fire up the others and like get them going, especially in training. He says that himself. He's a quiet guy. He you know, leads by example by playing well usually. So you know, that's what he is. And also then he actually spoke more about Eden Hazard, and Sarri just keeps saying the same things basically, that he has to do more, that his potential is way higher than his performances at the moment. And basically Sarri just said that Hazard has to respect himself more, basically just do more, he just has to score more. Obviously all of that following some comments by Hazard saying that he frustrates basically all of his managers, you know, basically because they're all trying to, you know, get him to score more, whether that was Mourinho, Conte, and obviously now it's Sarri. And then Sarri pretty much confirmed Chelsea signing of Gonzalo Higuain, basically saying that we're trying to get him to sign the deal today. Obviously he's here, you know, everyone knows that he's here. The BBC reported it, everyone reported it. He has flown to London. Some have said the medical checks are done, some said, you know, they're just about not done, but basically he's going to sign today. If not, you know, basically tomorrow will be announced, either today or tomorrow. But basically he did admit, slightly annoyingly in my opinion, that, you know, the signing wasn't done by 12 p.m. lunchtime today, and therefore it's impossible, or rather, you know, he's ineligible to play against Tottenham, which is obviously slightly disappointing, but still obviously, you know, Sarri still seemed pretty happy with it and actually praised the club for the great work basically in getting him, because he said it's not easy at all and it is very difficult actually to get such an important striker, especially in the January window. But, you know, to be honest, that was really it from the press conference, and now getting into Chelsea. And obviously Higuain isn't available. Morata in theory is probably still available because he won't be sold until we have, you know, Higuain done, but he won't be involved. Whether he's still available by tomorrow evening or not doesn't really matter. He won't be involved. And, you know, we didn't really learn anything about injuries in the press conference today, so there could be injuries that we just don't know about, simply because none of the journalists asked, because they were busy asking about you know, Higuain and silly questions about leaders for some reason, and Christensen needing the toilet during the Arsenal game, which was completely ridiculous. Anyway, you know, getting into the lineup with, you know, not knowing about injuries, but knowing Higuain isn't there and Morata won't be there, most of the lineup is pretty much set in stone in my opinion, even though a lot of you, and including myself, do want at least some changes compared to the last few games. Now, Kepa obviously will be in goal, as he should be, and I also think that the back four will probably stay unchanged. I mean, although Christensen did start instead of David Luiz against Tottenham in the first leg, I think it will be Luiz this time. Maybe I'm wrong, it could be Christensen again. We'll have to wait and see. But even though I would prefer Emerson Palmieri to start over Marcos Alonso, we all know that it will be Alonso, let's be honest. Like, we just know that Alonso is going to start the game. And the midfield, in my opinion, is also going to be unchanged, no matter what you think of Jorginho, because, you know, we're not going to change the system, so Jorginho is going to play in that position and in that role if he does play. And we don't have a backup for him. We simply do not. And don't you dare mention Ethan Ampadu as a viable backup to Jorginho. Ethan Ampadu can play midfield, can play that N'Golo Kante role in Sarri's system. He is not a regista, he cannot play that. Obviously, Kante will start the game and has to start the game, and then the left central midfielder, well, Loftus-Cheek, in my opinion, our best option in that position, is injured, sadly, because I really want him to play. And I don't really want Barkley to start. To be honest, I don't even want him to play much, but, you know, especially don't want him to start. So it's going to have to be Mateo Kovacic. But then coming to the front three, there is a bit more room for debate. Obviously, Eden Hazard will start for sure. But the question is, will he start up front as the false nine, if you will, or will he start on the wing? Now, the most likely situation, in my opinion, is that we're not going to change the team from the Arsenal defeat. That it's going to be the exact same team, including the exact same front three. Now, do Emerson and Callum Hudson-Odoi deserve to play? Probably. Although I do actually think that William was, especially in the second half against Arsenal, quite decent. So, you know, does he deserve to be dropped? Probably yes. Does Pedro deserve to be dropped? Maybe not, I don't know. But in my opinion, actually, Hazard was the worst of the front three. Yes, he didn't play in his natural position, but even when he moved out wide to the left, he didn't do anything. So, you know, you can talk about, you know, what you want really. Callum Hudson-Odoi, does he deserve to start? Possibly. Will he start? I don't see it happening. But to change things up, I would actually want him to start alongside Olivier Giroud and Eden Hazard on the left. You know, I don't rate Giroud. You should know that by now. Basically, I want Hudson-Odoi to start for his unbelievable crossing ability. But even with Giroud in the middle, even though he's about 7 foot tall, I know he isn't, but you know, he's very tall, he still doesn't get in the end of any crosses. So he probably won't do that tomorrow either. Even if he starts and Hudson-Odoi fizzes in some great crosses into him, he probably won't. But we have to try something different, because obviously the false line in recent games just hasn't worked. It just hasn't worked. The wingers are way too spread, you know, from Hazard. There's no combination play. Kovacic isn't pushing forward anywhere near enough, basically to help Hazard out in that role. That's why I think we need Loftus-Cheek. Obviously, as soon as he's back, hopefully he can play. It's just that with obviously me expecting Spurs to defend quite a lot, you know, having that tall player, you know, in the middle with Olivier Giroud could be somewhat helpful, even though it's probably going to be too tight to have some sort of link-up play with Hazard or even Hudson-Odoi or whoever plays on the right. We'll just have to wait and see, but you know, maybe Giroud can do something. I hope he can if he does start, and I would start him even though I don't rate him, but just to give us something different. But like I said, you know, I still think Sarri will go with the exact same lineup that we had against Arsenal in those other games, even though obviously Christensen, maybe Giroud, maybe Hudson-Odoi could get in there. This is the lineup that I'm expecting. Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal in a 4-3-3. Obviously, the back four being Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso as the two fullbacks. Then Antonio Rudiger and David Luiz as the two centre-backs. And midfield three of Jorginho, N'Golo Kanté and Matteo Kovacic. And then a front three of, you know, like I said, unchanged. Willian on the left, Pedro on the right, and Hazard down the middle. Now, do we stand a chance of turning this tie around? Of course we do. We only need to win by 1 goal to take the game to penalties. Obviously, there's no away goal rule, and there will be no extra time no matter what the score. It will go straight to penalties if it's a draw, basically, obviously on aggregate. And even if we have struggled to score recently, a lot of it has been bad luck as well. We have to be honest about that. We like to criticize the team sometimes. A lot of, you know, some fans like to be really harsh on the team. But even against Arsenal, we had chances. You know, less than Arsenal did, but we still had plenty of chances to score 2 goals, at least 2 goals. Like, we hit the post, as we pretty much every game do. You know, we just always hit the post or the woodwork anyway, and it's bloody frustrating. And with KANE, ALLI and Son out, I think we might be able to keep a clean sheet against Spurs tomorrow. And to be honest, then I just hope that we'll take 2 of the chances that we will create, in all honesty, and we'll win the game 2-0 and just go to the final. That would be great. I mean, I'm pretty confident that we will create enough chances to score 2 goals. How big those chances will be might be a little bit of a different story, but there will be chances, but you know, still good enough chances to score. But we also just need that little bit of luck on our side for once. Like in the first leg, VAR properly screwed us over in my opinion. Like, so we just need that little bit of luck. And game plan wise, what we should do, I can only repeat myself in all honesty, but it just feels like I'm talking to a wall when I keep saying it. Like, we just need to move. In the Arsenal game, in the Emirates, I was just stood there shouting, just move, start moving. It's so disappointing because our players need to start moving, need to make runs, need to move around the pitch before the other teammates even receive the ball. Like Kovacic, Kanté, the wingers and the fullbacks, they need to move before Jorginho has even received the ball. Then he can play first time passes and not have to wait around and then play a tricky pass that he misplaces. We have to make things easier for our, you know, for Jorginho. His teammates have to make it easy for him, and that will make it easier for them as well. So that's just mainly what we need to do. Once we move more, we can pass so much more quickly. And once we do that, we will create chances, probably bigger chances than we usually create. So we're more likely to score. But, you know, will we do it enough? I don't know. I really hope so, but we'll just have to wait and see. But coming to my score prediction, that is going to be a 1-0 win to Chelsea. That's what I'm going to predict. And obviously, that would mean a penalty shootout at Stamford Bridge. And then I just really hope that we're going to win that penalty shootout. I really hope that, you know, we do beat them. I just think that's the most likely, beating them 1-0, getting to penalties, and then hopefully beat them there. But yeah, that's really it for me. Leave me all of your thoughts ahead of the game down in the comment section below. Anything, you know, obviously your score predictions, your predicted lineups. Do you think Sarri will make any changes? Do you think he will stick to the same thing? I also hope that basically the, you know, background noise from outside wasn't too loud and the sound generally was quite good. I do hope so. Like I said in the beginning, let's see whether we can hit 400 or more likes in this video. That would be massively appreciated, so please do be sure to smash that like button down below. Don't forget to check out my social media, which is Loud1607 on both Instagram and Twitter, as you can see over here or over there, wherever it is. And also the links to both of them will be down in the description below, so if you could follow me over there, I would absolutely love you for it. And of course, this is YouTube, so if you haven't already, please do be sure to subscribe to 100% Chelsea, and also don't forget to hit the notification bell button and choose to be notified about all uploads so you don't miss any of the future videos. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, can't wait for the game tomorrow, and I'll see you next time.